As we all know, and deep down everyone understands this to a certain level, the invention of Fallout New Vegas has been more important in human history than the invention of fire and off fans. That's right. And when we first heard that the people who made New Vegas are gonna make their own game, and it's gonna be like New Vegas, you know everyone was very excited. And then we got the Outer Worlds, and it was disappointing. It was safe, it was plain, it was boring, it was small, and that's pretty much it. And then Obsidian died in our hearts. Good times. And now, the Outer Worlds 2 is coming, and man, it is close. And I hope you're excited because the slop needs to flow. And the Outer Worlds 2 is gonna be prime slop, boys, okay? The chances that the Outer Worlds 2 is actually what we want in gaming, what we want, aka a new Fallout New Vegas, Todd. Are you listening, Todd? You 5'3" loser midget? That's what we want. We want New Vegas. Give it to us. Even if it's bad, I'll take it, honestly, at this point. But the Outer Worlds 2 is gonna be bad. Because the developers behind this are... well, they're already doubling down on literally nothing anyone asked. The things that you didn't like about the Outer Worlds 2. Not enough freedom of choice, not enough variety, not enough options. What is the Outer Worlds gonna do? Well, they're gonna say, fuck all of that. Here's 2 new gun types. Enjoy. Yeah, that's what we want. We're Call of Duty now, boys. It is what it is.
Think of the Outer Worlds 2, Maddie? Well, I appreciate you maybe asking that. Today, we're talking about the newly announced Xbox Summer Showcase, which also confirms the Outer Worlds 2 is going to be the follow-up developer direct video game. There was a lot of speculation among the Xbox community of what this game would be, particularly because Fable got delayed. After Fable got delayed, we were like, what's it gonna be?
Fable got delayed because there was not even a single paid journalism site that said good things about Fable. Everyone who watched this was unanimously, wow, this is trash. It's like a hive mind took over and everyone understood the right choice of calling this absolute trash. Because it is. My god, Fable is gonna be woke.
Then? Are they even going to do it at all? There were great candidates thanks to the rumor mill, like Gears of War E-Day, but my prediction from the start was it's probably going to be the Outer Worlds 2. Now,
okay, how do you think Gears of War is going to get demasculinitified, okay? How do you think they're going to manage that? Because Gears of War is not, again, wokeness has not gone anywhere in gaming, okay? Listen, the Gears of War, too much testosterone. We need a little bit more estrogen, okay? A lot more estrogen, in fact. So, I wonder how they're gonna mess up that.
Now, whether the Outer Worlds 2 truly is in this slot because they have a ton to show you, or the Outer Worlds 2 is in this slot because the cards just kind of fell that way, we're unsure about. But based on what IGN First is saying in their initial coverage of this game, where we finally got 10 plus minutes of gameplay to just see the Outer Worlds 2, because Obsidian, as I'll talk about in a little bit, has been a little cagey with this.
Date night's canceled today, boys. Well, it is what it is. I guess I'll just play World of Warcraft Season of Discovery a little bit more. It happens.
Game, they have a lot to show in the lead up to the developer direct, where I'm like, how much is there to this game if they're doing an IGN First for this month, and then we're also going to get the developer direct? Like, that kind of works a bit against what Xbox typically does, which is shrouds these games in mystery. Like, it's as if Starfield or Black Ops 6, imagine them
yeah, Xbox currently is trying to shroud their financial situation in mystery. That's what they're doing. Oh boy, is Game Pass a failure.
Getting these big blowouts of marketing and gameplay.
Listen, when the point of Game Pass is to be like Netflix, already pre-fucking stupid subscription-based model, by the way, and you are at the point where, well, you know, this game is going to be on Game Pass, but we're still going to charge you money to play it. You know it's over. You know it's over.
Reveals ahead of the actual developer direct, where that's usually when they pull the lid off things. But nonetheless, we'll talk in full detail. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. If you're new here, you're into what's going on with Xbox, Obsidian, etc., consider subscribing. All right, let's start by jumping over to the Xbox Wire. Xbox Game Showcase, followed by the Outer Worlds 2 Direct airs June 8th. Make some space on your calendar. The Xbox Game Showcase will be live streamed on Sunday, June 8th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK time, following in the footsteps of the 2023 Starfield Direct and the 2024 Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct. This year,
I'm surprised they're even allowed to use the word Starfield.
we will again have a double feature with Xbox Game Showcase immediately followed by the Outer Worlds 2 Direct. It all begins with our annual Xbox Game Showcase, bringing you a look at upcoming titles from across our first-party studios, in addition to incredible new titles from our third-party partners across the globe. This year, the show will be digital only. Our live stream will bring you everything you'll need to know about what's next for Xbox, no matter where in the world you're watching. This is actually a kind of significant change, because one thing that started to build optimism around Xbox when things were kind of falling out last year and the year before that was some of the actual public presence and confidence of the executives at Xbox who were there at, I think it was Summer Games Fest, and a lot of the press and content creators there were really reporting on that. And then the show's delivered, as I feel Xbox really has figured out their summer showcase, where, like, I'm excited about this just by the past, right? Like, they just have had
Remember all the slop that we have gotten in the last years? And I'm trying to spit a little bit for added impact. It's not working out, though. Feel like an idiot. But remember all the slop that we have gotten in recent years? That's right. Yeah, this is gonna make it more. What are these opinions, Maddie? Like, what the hell?
consistent, to me, A+ shows between Developer Direct and their summer showcases, where I'm like, yeah, no doubt this is going to have a ton of amazing shit in it, and I cannot wait. But to go digital only is a little bit of a shift from the norm for Xbox, so I do wonder if there is anything involved in that sort of decision here. But nonetheless, the main thing I wanted to talk about in this video, because
that's such a great sentence. Now, Xbox decided to go digital. Typically, they don't do that. I wonder if there's reasoning behind this decision. What a sentence.
really it for the Xbox information is what's going on with the Outer Worlds 2. If you head over to IGN, you'll see they posted 10 plus minutes of brand new gameplay for the Outer Worlds 2.
Oh boy, I'm gonna watch that later.
Now, I mentioned at the start of this video, Obsidian's been a touch cagey about the game. We did get that surprise reveal trailer, and even more surprising was the confirmation of 2025, which this sort of locks that in a lot more. If you're dedicating the whole direct to this game, it seems like they are going to shoot for some sort of, I guess, holiday release window. Again, you have to remember when this was first revealed and they committed 2025, we're like, Obsidian has Avowed coming out at the top of the year, so you're going to actually like bookend the year with big RPGs. That's pretty crazy. But we actually don't know too much about the Outer Worlds
What we know? Not much. That is funny.
2 story at all. We don't know if there's returning characters. That's a big question that can be answered by either IGN first.
Honestly, I'm probably just gonna skip the Other Worlds too. I'm not gonna even download it for free, if you know what I mean.
Or the Developer Direct. We don't know when in the timeline this takes place. We don't know if it's the same galaxy. We don't know if the board is still here. We don't know what this actually is. And this is our first gut check on the Outer Worlds 2. It's still got that dark humor, no doubt. But one thing I noticed when watching this gameplay is it's a lot more stealth focused, which we'll talk about that, but it's also a lot more serious. The music is really serious. The things the cults in this scientific laboratory are saying is very serious. It has a heft to it. It's kind of brooding. It's very different in that stretch compared to the first Outer Worlds, which was very much just landing that dark comedy over and over again. Now, I don't know if this is just like what kind of impression Obsidian wanted to make, but that was the first standout difference to me. And so while those questions aren't answered, like, are we in the same galaxy? Is this going to be the same cast of characters? We did see one of the first companions in the game in Aza. I say all this because Secret Level came out, and like Secret Level, for example, was the one that teased that
Did anyone care about Secret Level? I mean, no?
Pac-Man Metroidvania style game, right? Which was really cool. So it kind of brought a little bit of energy to that show, and it's
Okay, how bad is this? Like, why is his head so much bigger than the body? And why does this woman have boobs? No, seriously, look at this. Like, they just kind of exist there. This is really awkward looking. What the fuck?
brief life
Also, the facial features are classic Netflix. Let's make women into men because reasons.
that you might get a feeler for things going on within
Yeah, like what the hell is this? She has more manly features than the guy. Jesus.
upcoming projects from these teams or cool
Like what the hell is wrong with this? Like how and this guy would it have killed someone to give him a this thing a chin? Mother of God. Did Leafy get cast for this role?
what if stories. Obsidian did one for the Outer Worlds too, and it really told us nothing at all. So again, they've been very cagey about this, which is why I think there is just significance to this gameplay at all beyond like, oh, we finally get to see it. Now, IGN First did promise a few things that we're going to learn about in the coming weeks. One is a brand new flaw system. They said they're also going to get into
IGN First.
character builds. They're going to talk about the wild weapons, which we know the science weapons in the Outer Worlds are hilarious. And also they talked about the scale of the game, which indicates that it is much bigger than the first one. After playing Avowed through, this actually doesn't surprise me.
Bro, why did you play Avowed through? Like, did someone have a gun to your head? Why did you play Avowed?
As much. Avowed was a way bigger game than I think Obsidian
If you want a good Avowed, just go play Tainted Grail. That's pretty much.
even sold it as. Like, the way they kind of build it to us was like, yeah, it's the Outer Worlds again. And Outer Worlds was like a nice 30-hour RPG. You could see everything in that window of time. You ship it, great. Avowed, you could put up to like 60 or even 70 hours in, and it became one of Obsidian's biggest games for the production value it was trying to put forward, which was really surprising. So right away when I saw the
It became one of Obsidian's biggest games. Said, what a time to be alive. Okay, let's look at one of Obsidian's biggest games. Okay. Gonna share screen. There you go, boys. This is one of the biggest games Obsidian has ever had. Okay, a whopping a 19K peak concurrent player base. I said that this is gonna have a maximum 20K. 19, pretty close at the end. But it isn't possibly how bad this. Oh my God, this is just a disappointment. And oh, but my favorite player. No one plays it on Xbox. No one plays anything on Xbox if they have a choice. No one plays anything on PlayStation if they have a choice. PC Marketplace is where it's at. And now look at this. Oh, it's just not a thing. The Outer Worlds first game had a big. Actually, no, I'm not gonna show it to you. But the Outer Worlds first game had a higher peak player count. I don't remember how much, but it had a similar or higher peak player count, and it came to Steam like 3 years after its release or something, or 2 years or 1 year after, which is Avowed is just a failure.
the trailer of the Outer Worlds 2 after playing Avowed and then seeing this gameplay and just the scale of the environments, the openness of it, I was like, oh, this game's going to be huge. Now, after playing Avowed, and many people know how I felt about Avowed, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I'm
When Matty says many people know how he feels about Avowed, aka no one does, because Matty just did his typical, it's a good game, but no one likes it. I know, I wouldn't recommend you buy it, but buy it. It's pretty shit, but I like it. That's what Matty means by everyone knows what he thinks about it, aka no one knows.
one of the advocates where I don't want Obsidian's games to get bigger. Yeah, like I'm not saying that means it's going to get worse, but there is a little bit of a correlation of scale does not equal good. But the Outer Worlds is definitely one of my favorite things Obsidian has done. So I'm very interested to see how this scales up. And again, how broad this universe is. Now, we saw a lot more stealth-focused gameplay here as well from the IGN First gameplay. And unfortunately, I think Redfall scarred me a little bit. When I see stealth abilities and you don't have like a takedown animation, it always gives me like the gamer ick is what I call it. It's like, ugh, why? Come on, why? Like, if stealth is going to be such a focus here, but it's just a little poke in the back and that's it, it's not as bad as Redfall where you just like elbowed someone in the kneecap and they just drop down. They're like, I'm dead now. At least here you
Imagine saying something is not as bad as Redfall. What a compliment.
Actually like put a scythe in their back or something along those lines. But no takedown animations was a little bit disappointing. And also in that first stealth takedown, right away the enemy notices that someone dropped, and I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the point of doing stealth things if all these enemies are going to see you right away.
Tainted Grail has such a hard stealth system, but it is rewarding. It feels good when you pull it off.
It is
and also doesn't have animation. But maybe I have animations turned off. I'm not even sure at this point. But it does have this slow time thing that feels good.
Based to some degree, it would seem, because you're wandering this sort of valley into a building, and then you look at a trapdoor, and there is this transitionary loading screen into a dungeon like you've kind of seen before in the Outer Worlds 1. So it does not seem like Obsidian's going for full seamless open world style content like I think some people were a bit worried about, which I'm
You know what? That's completely fine. Again, as long as it's not literally Starfield's tier of, hey, if you want to travel without fast travel to planets, you're gonna have to go through 5 fucking loading screens in a row. Get into the ship, the loading screen. Get into the cockpit, an unskippable animation that's longer than loading screens. Fly off the planet, unskippable animation and loading screen. Then be in space. Pick where you need to go. Again, unskippable animation that could have been a loading screen in Secret, but it's fucking not. Go loading screen. Go there. Go land on the planet. More loading screens. Get out of the chair. It's so many loading screens and unskippable animations. As long as it's like. And if you do it properly, it's 3 loading screens in a row. What a time to be alive, okay? As long as it's just 2 loading screens in a row, I think I'm okay. I think I'll manage.
I'm at least happy to see, maybe not the loading screens per se, but it seems like the structure will be very similar to Avowed. Anyway, within this facility, they're investigating a cult that has started going invisible due to a science experiment of some kind gone wrong. And what you'll notice is something that we did see in the trailer. Like there was a part in the trailer where the character put down some visor and the entire environment around them changed. Turns out this is called the N-ray scanner, and it lets you see these invisible enemies. This
bruh, that's danger zone.
Cult that otherwise you can just hear, but you cannot see. And the other thing it lets you do is see through parts of the environment. So there was a minor, I wouldn't even call it a puzzle, just a bit of interaction where put the visor on, flipped a couple of switches. Otherwise, they wouldn't have known which switches to flip. Who knows what happens if they flip the wrong switches. But I can see some cool interactivity coming from this. I hope they kind of are taking a page out of the book of the discrepancy amplifier, which was in Murder on Eridanos, which is just one of my favorite DLC, by the way. I adore what they did with that in The Outer Worlds 1. If you have not played it, definitely check it out. The main thing it just let you do is kind of play detective, investigate the environment in a new way. And so it seems like the N-ray scanner is trying to do a little bit of that at the same time as also...
I'm a real N-ray, dude, okay?
bringing in a little bit of combat
it's gonna be good.
Using the scanner. So I can get down with that, because one thing I did like about The Outer Worlds 1 is what I like about Bethesda Game Studios games. Like I can pick up and interact with all these objects in the world, but now if there's like an extra layer to that, I think that's pretty cool. We also got to look at dialogue.
Literally not a Bethesda Studios game, but you know, okay.
It's going to function very similarly to The Outer Worlds 1, as I'm sure many of us expected. We did get a look at some skill check options. Some of them did seem to be that...
Yeah, let's have the safest dialogue that has ever existed in humanity. Great.
Flavor text like we saw with...
Let's have dialogues that are arguably worse than Fallout 4.
Avowed, where, hey, you have melee options here, or gun options here, of like, yeah, I'm going to take them all down, but... It also showed that there were requirements not met for certain skill checks of dialogue. And it's not like what The Outer Worlds 1 or other RPGs do, where it kind of grays it out and it shows you what you could have said, but it's otherwise unavailable. It just says requirement not met, and so the dialogue's completely gone. And so it was like a medical option and a speech option that if you had the skills to use, maybe you'd have alternate ways to get through this interaction with this character. The character is this scientist that they actually show at the end of the 10 minutes of gameplay that you can kill this individual, which I thought was a good
You can kill NPCs? That's horrible enough. Wow! Kill me. Just kill me now. You can kill. We're gonna hail the fact that we can kill NPCs now. Oh wow, that is insane! Wow, you can kill NPCs. Oh,
Thing to confirm, like this was a core quest character, killed them, they had a note on their body.
it's a core. Yeah. Remember when this was normal, and then every shit their company made it non-normal? Yeah, I remember that.
Talking about the N-ray scanner. If you find this, go find the N-ray scanner. So basically, if you chose to kill this individual, you'd still be able to continue your quest. There was also a touch more intricate level design compared to what we found in the Outer Worlds 1. I think
Oh god, you know what? Ventilation shafts should not be in any game as a stealth or bypass or whatever mechanic. They're just bad.
did a decent job of upgrading that. I'm hoping Outer Worlds 2 carries it even further forward. For example, you were crawling through like the pipes, the shafts of this building. I hope that these areas do have lots of options of approach, because especially if they're encouraging stealth as much as they are here in this gameplay, I think that's good to see, because again, Outer Worlds was just a lot of like hallways, doorways, big room, hallway, doorway, which I didn't care about. It was like a very much industrialized video game where you were in a lot of factories and laboratories and houses. Like they would have this structure, but just to see a little bit more depth in the exploration is a great thing. The last thing I did notice that I wanted to point out is Ozza and the scientists you interact with, everyone's wearing masks. Now with Ozza, what's interesting is you can actually see what she looks like in her companion icon in the bottom middle of the screen. Right away, the scientist does recognize her as a member of this cult. I don't know if she's like a rebelling member of this cult, or if like, no, this isn't our way, or I don't know what exactly is fully happening in the quest line, but I do wonder if they're hiding the facial animations, because a lot of people in the comments are pointing out there was some screen tearing in the gameplay. Are there technical concerns? That's one of those things.
Yep, probably. This whole game is probably going to be honestly a concern. No, I think it's going to probably sell okay-ish. Whatever is okay-ish, honestly, for the Outer Worlds. It's not going to be the biggest thing ever, but it's not going to be a disaster. Again, the Outer Worlds is just going to be your typical slop that you can kind of play if you're bored. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, that was Mr. Matty Plays 10 out of 10. Bye!